Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this November 6th version of AM Live on EOA. Your connection to Eastern Oregon, we're glad that you are here with us this morning. If you want to find our content, if you go to EOA.network, that takes you to a link tree where you can find the location of our Facebook, our YouTube, our Instagram, and then also our website. And we also have a Roku channel that you can download onto your Roku and watch this content live and our on-demand stuff. We're glad that you are here with us. Here in just a little bit, we are going to have Seth Miller from Oregon Parks Forever and Eric Valentine, who is a local person that you have met a number of times, and Brendan, who is the producer of a film that's going to be playing at EOU tonight. So, great conversation coming your way. We'll be with that soon. Hey, how are you, man?
I'm good. Morning. It's First Friday. We didn't tie any of that together. You just introduced them.
I know.
Didn't say what. They're here for Oregon Parks.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Right? Did I mention Oregon Parks Forever?
I don't know, but you were just like, we're gonna have him, a local guy, and then a producer, and they're gonna be here, and we're just gonna talk.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being a good critic. Now do your.
No, I'm just letting the people know that it's for Oregon Parks Forever.
I know, but we'll clarify.
Yeah.
There's going to be clarification in the future. Yeah. For those of you like Kyle that don't understand.
No, I just want people to stick around, maybe, if they're here watching.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, no, I don't have any rants today about sports.
Really?
No, well,
nothing.
I'm taking it easy because I'm worn out on rants.
Yeah, but we do have a game tomorrow night, and I guess you're going to talk about that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so that will give you a little bit opportunity to rant then.
No, I'm not going to rant then.
Okay.
That's not very, no. I don't, because we're playing one of the teams in the last rant.
Yeah.
I'll just keep it off of there.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't want to set a bad example for Jack. You know
that's right. I mean?
Jack's
going to be on the mic tomorrow night. Yeah.
I want to teach him that that's the place to.
Yeah, and he'll be on video too. We'll have a camera pointing.
Yeah, we're going to set up a camera tomorrow night.
Yeah, so that'd be kind of interesting.
I wanted to surprise Jack and let him be on video. He's going to love it. And I can't tell it on here because his dad probably watches this, but I'm not going to tell you what I got for him. But I got him a little gift package for helping out. Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to do sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Furniture that fits your life. Flex Steel makes custom design easy so you can create a space that's truly yours. Explore the collection at Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Big Red Rocking Chair on Elm, off Adams in LeGrand. The OSAA 1A and 2A state volleyball tournament is here in LeGrand this weekend, the 7th and the 8th. The local team that plays is Imbler. Imbler plays on Friday at 3 p.m. I'm going to try to get to that game for a few minutes. Hopefully we can get football set up. I could run over there and then come back. So if you want to see a local team in state volleyball tournament play, Imbler is your choice. I mean, Joseph's in it as well. They play earlier in the morning, but I'm talking local as in the Valley. Imbler, 3 o'clock tomorrow. LHS girls soccer dropped a heartbreaker at Community Stadium on Tuesday night in the first round of the OSAA 4A state playoffs, 1-0. And this is a team that they beat last year in the round of 8 in the state tournament, and it was heartbreaking. They finished their season 7-5-3 overall, 5-0-1 in the GOL. LHS football hosts Sweet Home tomorrow night at Community Stadium in the opening round of the OSAA 4A state playoffs. The game kicks off at 7 p.m. and will be live streamed right here on EOA Live with the crew. You know what I mean? It's going to be like a normal Friday night home game, and it's just going to be a playoff game. It's going to be exciting. We'll probably start the live stream at about 6:45-ish, so tune in. It's going to be a good game. The first preseason poll for NAIA softball came out, and EOU is number 3 in the country. I said I wasn't going to rant, but I am going to rant, actually. In the Cascade Collegiate Conference, EOU was picked number 3, okay? This is the national poll, and they're 3. And the teams that are in front of them, only one of them is a Cascade Conference team, the returning national champion Southern. So that means OIT slipped in there in the conference, and it's the good old boy thing in the Cascade Conference. Like, these coaches don't vote necessarily for the best team. They vote for their buddies. And so in the CCC, you see Southern is number 1, OIT is number 2, EOU is number 3. In the national poll, which is probably a little more important than the conference poll, you see Southern, Oklahoma City, Eastern Oregon. You don't see OIT until number 10 in that poll. And that just kind of shows you how the good old boy system works in the CCC. EOU football has senior day on Sunday versus Simpson. That game kicks off at 1 p.m. at Community Stadium. They want everybody there to line up at about 12:15 from the tailgate zone to the gate and basically create a tunnel for the players or to walk through when they come in. You know, they come in off the back of the tailgate zone and into the stadium. Well, they want the fans to be out there to make a tunnel. It's senior day, man. I can't believe it's Brody McMillan's senior year at EOU. I remember it felt like yesterday he's a little sophomore playing football at LeGrand, and now he's wearing the legacy number at EOU, and he's going to be oh, man, this is crazy, man. EOU volleyball hosts number 12 LCSC on Saturday at 5 p.m., and then Walla Walla on Sunday at noon. This is a little different than normal. Usually they play Fridays and Saturdays, but because of the religious stuff with Walla Walla, they always switch these games around, and they're going to actually play on a Sunday. If the Mounties win these games, they're the CCC regular season champions and host the CCC tournament. EOU is currently 16-2 in the Cascade Conference. Corbin is 15-3. So if EOU wins both of these, there's no chance that Corbin can tie. They have one more loss, and that's what we want. I mean, obviously, EOU is currently ranked number 2 in the country, and I would argue that they're the best volleyball team in the country. They had a little hiccup against Southern here at home, and they lost the game on the road that they shouldn't have lost, and that's their only 2 losses of the year. EOU men's and women's soccer are in Medford this weekend for the CCC tournaments. The men are the 1 seed, the women are the 3 seed, and I mean, arguably, either one of those teams could win the CCC tournament. I'm going to say right now, I think the men are going to win it. They're undefeated. They have, I think, 4 ties this year, which is quite a bit of ties. But they ran the table in the CCC regular season. They're the regular season champs, and I think they're going to bring home the championship for the tournament as well. Finally, EOU cross country is in Independence this week for the CCC championships. That's on Saturday on the 7th, and both those cross-country teams could also bring back CCC championships. They both look really good. I think the men are ranked number 10 in the country, and the women are 16th. And I think both those teams will also qualify for nationals as well, which means a trip to Florida. All these kids. I mean, if I'm a cross-country runner and I'm running, in the CCCs, I'm going to run the best race of my life just to get to go to Florida. You know what I mean? I don't even care about the race at that point. It's a vacation to Florida. And Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. They want to make you comfortable in your own home.
All right. I wish we had a decibel meter in here. And just by looking at the meter, we could tell when you're ranting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just get excited about it. I completely forgot about that poll. That teed me off.
No, I don't blame you at all.
Ridiculous.
It's like, man, it seems like they could look at the polls themselves and figure out,
I don't think they do.
something's wrong.
No, they scratch each other's backs. That's what they do.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, let's take a look outside. Look at the weather. Looks like we had a little bit of rain this morning. Anyhow,
it doesn't look horrible out there.
No, it's beautiful. I love the middle of these days. It's when it's fall and the sun comes out for a little bit. And so let's look at that weather graphic, Benning. So 57 today, 41 tonight.
Down below freezing tonight too.
Yep.
There was a 7-degree difference in temperature a couple days ago, and now today there's a 24-degree difference. That's wild.
Yeah.
Get some weird days, and then you see the low on Sunday is 42.
Yeah.
Tonight it's 27.
Yeah.
Make up your mind. If you're gonna hit me with fall, just go ahead and hit me.
Yeah, that would be a God conversation. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, glad you guys are here with us. So Oregon Parks Forever is the organization that's going to be. They're here in the studio with us, and for the commercial break, we're going to show you the video about them. So we'll be right back.
This is Oregon. Beauty surrounds us, from the Oahe to the coast. Mountains, lakes, streams. A playground for the senses, stimulation for the soul. We are stewards of Oregon's parks and forests. We are Oregon Parks Forever. Since 1995, we've worked to help preserve our beautiful parks and forests for generations to come. Here are just some of the important projects we're working on. Oregon's devastating wildfires affected so many people and scarred our beautiful forests. We're raising funds to help regrow our burned forests. Our goal, to replant 1 million trees. Partnering with David's Chair, we're helping people with mobility limitations enjoy access to natural wonders that were previously off limits.
Finding out we could actually go use one for free out on the beach at an event like this, it's very uplifting, and it gives you a lot of hope for all the things that may be even more available in the future as technology progresses.
We're converting hiking trails to track trails. These are sort of nature's scavenger hunts, where hikes are turned into discover-packed adventures, a fun and rewarding way for children and their families to learn about our environment. We're helping young students with a ticket to ride into outdoor classrooms, where children learn about the natural wonders of our parks and forests.
Children have a natural curiosity, and they come outside and, everything is new and everything sparkles.
Oregon Parks Forever funds the installation of shelters in hiker and biker campsites with new and innovative features where guests can charge phones, fill tires, and repair bikes. We take special care of our parks, bringing together volunteers and craftspeople for special fix-up events that help to clean up and restore existing park facilities. These are just some of the ways Oregon Parks Forever enhances and preserves our beautiful state, stirring vistas, beautiful parks and forests, where adventures and memories are cherished, a legacy for future generations.
All right, we're back, and I'm going to say we're back with Seth Miller and crew. Okay, how's that?
Right.
So Seth, you are the executive director of Oregon Parks Forever.
Correct.
Yeah. So hey, thank you for being with us today. Yeah.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and so Eric Valentine, who is a longtime friend of mine and here locally, so he's on the board. Yeah.
Eric is a longtime supporter of our organization, joined the board a number of years ago, and has brought us a number of interesting connections to the community, and we'll get into that in terms of some of the things we've been able to do with having Eric on the board, as well as Stu Spence from the Parks Department.
Yeah. Well, this has all come together really quickly because Eric talked to me probably 6 months ago, and I put you on the schedule, but I hadn't talked to you directly. Mm-hmm. And so then was on Monday is when I finally connected with you, and yeah, I'm going to be in town. I didn't know if it was going to be a remote interview or for sure what was happening, and so it's come together really quickly, and glad that you're here. So.
Thanks. I really appreciate the opportunity to tell our story.
Yeah.
It's an interesting organization. We've been around for 30 years.
Yeah.
But the first 25 years we were known as the Oregon State Parks Foundation.
Okay.
But 5 years ago, we broadened our mission to include the federal, state, county, city, and tribal parks. So basically, if it's a park or a public land in Oregon, we're available to work with it.
Cool. And real quick, Brendan, there is a film that is showing tonight, and we'll get into that here in a minute, but there's a film that's showing tonight, and you are the producer of that film. Tell me just briefly what that is about. Yeah.
Yes, so it's called Out There, a national park story. It's all about me and my friend Anthony road tripping through 10,000 miles of national parks, and it's all to meet people along the way. And so we screen at Zabel Hall at 6:30, and it's all accessible through Oregon Parks Forever's website. So we're
Awesome.
excited.
Cool. All right. So now let's zoom back in on Oregon Parks Forever. So how long have you been with them? And kind of tell me a little bit about your background.
So I started with the organization as a volunteer about 11 years ago, and then joined the board, and then the executive director left. And so 9 years ago, I became the executive director on a part-time basis for 2 months while they looked for somebody.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the tornado that kind of sucks you in. It's been a wonderful experience. I've gotten a chance to see many parts of the state that I hadn't seen before. I live in Portland, and so most of my experience has been, on the western side of the state. So it's wonderful to have a chance to get to Eastern Oregon and get to know Eastern Oregon. I've come a number of times to see Eric and have him show me around, and I've been to the Hawaii Canyon and to Joseph and down to the Steens Mountains. We opened up the Malheur Refuge with the track trails program, so it's been wonderful.
So, of course, the obvious question is, how is it funded? Where do you guys, and we'll talk more about how you do, but where do you get the money to do that?
Most of our money comes from memberships, so individual donations, individuals who join us for $50 a year or more. Sometimes we have people who come in as what we call our founder circle, which people pay $1,000 or more. And then for some of our larger programs, we go out to other foundations and to companies to get larger grants.
Okay. And so then, if you were to describe the overall, what's your purpose? What are you guys? What are you trying to accomplish?
We're trying to enhance the experience of using Oregon's public lands,
Okay.
and also increase the accessibility of those lands.
Okay.
That sounds like it's just an issue for people with mobility challenges, which we'll talk about, but it's also just for everybody, finding how to get to the public lands and trying to encourage young people to be stewards of our public lands. And through our connection with EOU, we have a program for high school students to encourage them to get involved in environmental education.
So, and doesn't the state do that? I mean, what do you do that the state is not able? Where do their services stop? Excuse me. What do you add on top of it that helps accessibility and stuff?
So one of the fun things about my job is I get sent all around the country to meetings of other park agencies to find out what's happening in other parks around the country. And then find out things that are not happening in Oregon that I can bring back here. So we find a program, find a partner, get the program funded, and then turn around and offer it out to the agencies. So probably best to talk about an example.
Yeah.
So here in the LeGrand, Baker City area, we're working on a program called Track Trails. Cool. Track Trails is best to think of it as a nature scavenger hunt for young kids. It's focusing on kids who are 5 to 12 years old, to get them and their families active and outdoors and interested in nature. The idea is the family shows up at one of the track trails. They find a trailhead sign.
Just go ahead and roll through some of that stuff, Bennett. Go ahead.
The trailhead sign has 4 brochure holders on it of things that the kids can find on that trail. They go out on their hike, they look for things, they learn, and then when they're done, they come home and they register their hike on kidsinparks.com, and prizes get mailed to them. They get a little passport. Each trail has its own sticker, so they can keep track of where they've been, and they also get the first to 15 activity cards, things that they can do anywhere. We have got 51 of them going in Oregon right now.
Wow.
Our goal is to get to 100. There are more than 350 of these around the country, so people who are on vacation can do them in other places. And then the next stage of this is to work with the pediatricians and family practice doctors in the area and have them prescribe hikes. So each practice would get its own custom prescription pad. They can encourage the child to go out, and when the child comes back to get their prizes, they put the prescription number in, and it automatically kicks off an email back to the prescriber's office telling them that the prescription got used so that they can compliment the child and their family and encourage them to go try another trail.
Wow, that's awesome. So help us understand, you're trying to do 100 of those. What is it, what's the cost? I mean, locally you've done that here. in 2 different places, right?
We have 2 installed.
Okay, yeah. One at Morgan Lake?
One at Morgan Lake and one at Mira.
Okay.
And there's no cost to the agencies.
No, okay, but I mean, what is when you guys put that in place, I mean, clearly you've got all that material, all of that signage, you know, and this is for the benefit of the potential donators out there. What is the cost in making something like that?
It costs us about $7,000 for each trail.
Yeah.
To put in the trailhead sign, the brochure holders, the brochures, and to also do all the prize fulfillment.
Yeah, and give me an example of the little things that they would find along the way. What is as they're going through this, what are they looking for?
So it really depends on the brochures that the park agency has picked for that trail. But it can be things like birds, it could be plants, it could be flowers, it can be fungus, it can be slugs,
Yeah.
you know, those sorts of things. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that the connection to LeGrand with the Track Trails program is that Morgan Lake was the first one that we put in anywhere in the state.
Oh, wow.
And really, that's to this guy. And so Eric and Stu Spence have gotten together and helped us put the one in at Morgan Lake, and then with Eric's help, we went to Mira, and then we have trails coming in at Bird Track Springs, at Anthony Lake, and at Powder River Recreation Trail when the federal government reopens.
Wow. And so, Eric, you're probably give me some of the things that kids are looking for at the lake.
Yeah, it was really fun setting that up and deciding what would be most effective to fit in with the nature opportunities at Morgan Lake. Julie Kinnery at Eastern Oregon University works extensively with students, and the fun integration we had between Oregon Parks Forever and Track Trails and Eastern Oregon University and the middle school is she was working with middle school students in general, and she took the middle school students up to Morgan Lake and walked around and got some ideas from the students as far as what they would like to have. They came up with birds and fish and I think flowers, and maybe weather was added to it. I can't recall what the 4th one is. And we worked with the overall agency based in North Carolina, and they prepared specific brochures that were ecologically unique to Morgan Lake. I mean, we didn't get birds from the East Coast. We got birds like that you find at Morgan Lake, the jays and the osprey and situations like that, and the wildflowers, balsam root and various flowers like that. So when you go up to the Morgan Lake site, you see the brochures, and the child can pick up a brochure, 4 brochures potentially, walk the trail and stop and say, hey, am I seeing this, or what am I learning from this experience? It was fun developing the sign for Morgan Lake because the generic sign they set up, I think, had Mount Hood on it or something. So we had to negotiate and say, no, we don't want a Mount Hood picture. We want a Mount Emily picture. So,
and do you have any Mount Emily pictures by chance?
Oh, I had a few that I sent. But anyway, so what the map does, it shows Mount Emily as key, and it's statewide. There are other kind of icons representing different areas of the state, but then there's a good, reasonably sized picture of Morgan Lake, and it shows the trail around Morgan Lake, gives the child and family an estimate of what the distance is going to be, and it's exciting.
Oh, that's cool.
The similar thing up at the Mira with a slight modifications.
Yeah.
And your viewers can go online and see that without having to go to the park if they'd like, especially since Morgan Lake is closed for the season.
Yeah.
But if they go to kidsinparks.com, there's a tab there called Find an Adventure. They click through and they put Oregon in there or LeGrand in there, and those will pop up and they can see pictures of the trail. They can see the brochures that have been picked, the sticker that they get for going on that trail, that sort of thing.
Cool.
What was the website?
Kidsinparks.com.
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 Kids in.
And Eric mentioned Julie Henry, and that also brings up the partnership with EOU that we have for high school students at the Cottonwood Canyon Summer Institute. Cottonwood Canyon is the second largest state park, just south of, or southeast of the Dalles, kind of in between the Dalles and Condon. And basically, we had incubated a program for high school students to come out for a week to have exposure to the outdoors, and it's expanded to now include a following week for high school teachers to come out and learn about teaching in the outdoors. But we incubated it, and now EOU has taken it over and is running it, but we have stayed involved, and we raised the money for scholarships.
Yeah. Well, that sounds awesome. Now, you mentioned earlier about something about pediatricians given a prescription for a hike. I mean, talk about the idea, and I mean, that sounds interesting.
So the program is called Track RX.
Track RX.
And
Interesting.
It's tied into the Track Trails program, but it's different from other prescription programs that are happening in parks around the country in that it's a closed loop for the prescriber. One of the things that they get excited about is they can prescribe green and find out whether it happened or not. And so because they give the prescription, it goes out to the family, the child puts the prescription number in when they get their prizes, and the fact is that they get an email back to the prescriber's office so they can stick it in their medical record and say, next time they see the patient, hey, good job, wouldn't you like to go, you went to Morgan Lake this time, do you want to go to Mira, or next spring go to Powder River or Anthony Lakes.
Yeah. And what an awesome thing, because there's kind of the elephant in the room that we're not talking about is that people don't get outside enough. I mean, they're absorbed in their devices or whatever it might be, or their job, and they're just not getting out as much. Do you get a sense that what you're doing, what your organization doing is helping that? Is it getting more people out?
Absolutely. I think that one of the major goals is to get kids unplugged and active outdoors, and to get them inspired to take care of our environment and our public lands going forward. Yeah. And so we can look at the number of kids who are coming out and look at how much the brochures are disappearing to see that it's being used. Yeah. And then we can also look at the data on who registers their hike to get their prizes.
Yeah. How awesome. Yeah, we've talked about this several times on the show, but Kyle, you tell that story about your son having a girl that he was interested in. Yeah, so
it's wild.
Tell that real quick.
Oh, just he was talking to this girl at school.
Senior in high school.
Senior year in high school.
Yeah.
And he was talking to a girl at school, and he was talking to me on the phone, and I was like, yeah, how often have you hung out with her? And he's like, I haven't. They go to the same school. Yeah. Phone. Yeah. He's like, we just chat on Snapchat. I'm like, you've never hung out with her physically? And he was like, no. I'm like, wow.
So it's not just it's not just this envelope that adults are experiencing or whatever it is. It's pervasive into younger folks. Yeah. So.
Well, the thing that got me into this was I sat down next to the guy who runs the program in North Carolina at a luncheon in Washington, D.C., the National Parks Friends Alliance, and he started telling me about the program, and I was like, my kids, when they were this age, absolutely loved the National Parks Passport program. And they would insist that we go to national parks to get that little passport or a little stamp in their passport. Yeah. And I thought, if we could do that locally and let them collect the stickers. And I now see the passports. And in fact, one of the kids last night even took my example passport. So it's something that kids like to do, and that's really neat.
And let me add what's fun about what Oregon Parks Forever has established in working through now more than 50 track trails in the state, and again the goal of 100. If a child gets involved here at Morgan Lake and Mira, that child has the opportunity to, with the parents, and you talk about insisting that they go to a national, your children going to a national park to get that stamp, well, they can stop in Pendleton for a track trail. They can stop in Hermiston. They can stop in Boardman, Hood River, all the way across on I-84, and then follow I-5 down. So if the family really gets involved, there's lots of opportunity for stamps in that passport.
Wow, very cool. So Seth, you've had the opportunity to look at other parks in other states. How do you rate us? I mean, we're all biased about our own environment, but as far as the condition of the parks themselves and the way they're taken care of, and I mean,
I think LaGrange should be very proud of what I've seen.
Yeah.
You know, particularly with Morgan Lake and with Mira, these parks are interesting for kids and families to go and explore. They're manageable. They're not. There are sections of Mira that are very steep, but where we have the track trail is relatively flat.
Yeah.
And so it's quite approachable
Yeah.
for people getting started and going out to the parks.
Yeah. And what about the parks in Oregon? How do the parks in all of Oregon compare to other states?
I think Oregon is held out as an example by a lot of other states. When I go to the state meetings, people are always jealous
Of course.
of what we have. We have the natural beauty here. We also have the land use laws that make it's a double-edged sword, but you know, I brag to people that I can drive an hour in any direction from my home
Yeah.
and have a completely different natural experience.
Yeah.
There are just so many wonderful places
Yeah.
to see in this state, and so whenever we have hosted the national meetings, the attendance is really high in those meetings.
Yeah, no, and it's funny that you would say land use because Commissioner Paul Anders was in your seat on Tuesday.
Okay.
And we were talking about the other side, the other edge of the sword of land use laws and how that makes a city expansion or housing, or I mean, it's just more, it's complicated compared to other states. Yeah.
And you know, when I first came to Oregon in 2003, I thought, oh, that's really weird. But then I found that it was so neat that I could be driving along, and all of a sudden, the buildings stop and it gets rural again.
Right, yeah.
And you can tell exactly where the urban growth boundary is.
Yeah.
And then I found out subsequently that, you know, how it drives up the cost of land. It drives up the cost inside the urban growth boundaries and that sort of thing. So that is the downside of it.
Yeah.
But when I compare that to the sprawl that I see in California or
Yeah.
in Washington, I'm just really happy to be in Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there would be a pretty broad consensus that it's a good thing, but it's 50 years old, and so it might need to be revisited again.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that generally Oregonians love that it is Oregon. You know, that it is, that you're right, the sprawl is limited, and you know, and you're back to as much nature as you can be. You know, so well. Brendan, tell me me about let's switch to the film and talk about that a little bit. So how did that, yeah, go ahead.
So about a year ago, I was at Yosemite at the National Parks Friends Alliance meeting, and Brendan screened Out There. And I watched that movie and I thought, this thing is incredible. It needs to come to Oregon. And so talked to Brendan afterwards, and I don't think he expected it was going to go quite where it went.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we did a first tour back in June. We went to 6 cities and sold out every theater we went to with this movie. And it was so popular, we decided we ought to go do it again. And so now we set this 7-city tour up, starting in Baker City, working our way back to Portland over the next 7 days. So tonight we'll be screening the EOU at Zabel Hall. But then tomorrow we're going to be in Pendleton at the Convention Center, then in Hermiston, then in the Dalles, then in Hood River, and finally in Portland. But I'll let Brendan talk about the movie, but it's absolutely a love story about the parks. It doesn't get into some of the current problems with staffing or funding problems, that sort of thing. It's just really a wonderful love story.
Yeah. Well, why don't you introduce the trailer to us, and we'll roll that, and then we'll come back. Yeah.
Sure. So, I mean, the Out There took 7 years for us to make.
Wow.
I'm a director, cinematographer, and editor. Made it with my childhood friend Anthony Blake, who's an educator. He's an assistant principal at a high school in Connecticut. And so, yeah, this is our way of sharing human stories in the parks. You know, just like you guys are talking about, your connection to Oregon and these places. We wanted to capture kind of that spark in someone's eye when they see that wonder and sort of expand it into a film. So yeah, I guess you could check out the trailer now.
Yeah. All right, let's roll it, Benny.
This has been a very long journey that completely changed the way I saw the national parks.
I encourage people to take this opportunity to be humbled before this living classroom that we have entrusted to us.
Every national park you go to is a different world.
This park has stories. And those are the kinds of stories that have kept me here for 20 years. But here's the thing. The story's not done yet.
I've been making films since I was 12 and had this dream of taking the ultimate road trip, 10,000 miles through the U.S. national parks. It was me and my childhood friend, Anthony.
I told Brendan we're totally ill-equipped to journey into national parks, but screw it, I'm in. I'll produce this documentary.
We could have never known how much this trip would change our lives.
So I'll buy a beat-up four-door, drive till it stays, leave it on some strand.
As we started traveling through the parks, we realized that we were learning so much more talking to the people we were meeting along the way. And that changed everything.
Americans love their park system.
Our ancestors have been here for well over 13,000 years. We are all children of this common mystery.
It is amazing to know that you're part of a crew that's done this work and all these people are using it and enjoying it. It's just flipping amazing. I'm gonna choke.
There was a lot of fear going in because a lot of people told me I shouldn't be doing it. I shouldn't be alone in the woods as a girl. Fear just shouldn't inhibit you from doing beautiful things.
As a photographer, I try to inspire people to visit those places so that they will care about them. Because eventually that will help them stay forever if possible.
A story is entrusting itself to you. It's an awesome responsibility.
Lay a map down on the table, point out where I wanna go. See the California redwoods or the Mississippi flow. See the bears up in the Yukon. Ask them how they weather the cold.
What began as a goal of traveling 10,000 miles through the national parks ended in a place we could have never expected. Exploring that was our greatest adventure.
All right, we're back. Hey, that's amazing, Brendan.
Thank you.
Yeah, and when you came in and you were introduced as the producer, I didn't realize. I mean, I use that term for myself, and it can mean producer to a whole bunch of variety of stuff. And clearly, you were involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is part of your story.
Yep, it's you know, I'm the lead in the film alongside my friend Anthony.
Yeah.
He directed, I was the cinematographer, editor. He really produced it on the road, and then through the help of a really great small team and great organizations like Seth's, we're now distributing it. So,
yeah.
Community effort for sure.
So, man, so I guess let's back up. tell me a little bit about, you're from New York, but you've been messing with film since you were a kid. I mean, talk about your journey a little bit.
Yeah, from Connecticut originally, central Connecticut.
Okay.
Started making films when I was 12 years old. I just got a first camcorder with my birthday money.
Yeah.
Started filming everything around me, local events, documentaries, everything. And I always thought I'd make Hollywood films and kind of go and try to be a narrative filmmaker. Went to NYU for film school, kind of holding on to that dream. And then I took a national parks road trip in the middle of college. And it just really changed my life. Me and Anthony, who's in the film, did 7 national parks in 6 days. And seeing nature, people's connection, and kind of reflecting on my own experience growing up on a lake, I realized that that's where my passions were. So I wanted to make films about nature, exploration, and kind of get to see the world as much as I could myself. And so that's kind of where it began. Came out of college, took out a loan, and got a documentary cinema camera. And then that led to starting this project Out There, an ode to national parks, as well as traveling all around the world. So I work as a freelance filmmaker, and I've done projects on all 7 continents and gotten to do some really cool stuff.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. We intersect with a lot of students being at EOU, and we have high school interns that work for us, and there are times that we'll have people come in the front door and they'll say like, yeah, we want to make a movie. And it's like, well, use your phone and get started. I mean, and a lot of people, it's not the device you're holding, it's the motivation that you have. It's using what you already have to tell a story. And I mean, and clearly you understand that, and you knew that when you were a kid.
Yeah, and I mean, you see on TikTok, social media, today it's all about just being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
A clip filmed on your cell phone on a whim that's just the perfect moment goes a lot further than some beautiful big budget thing that just isn't, and so I totally agree. I'm of the belief that if you've made a film or are making one, you're a filmmaker, and if you want to get into making media, the phone in your pocket is a great start. If you can't get your hands on anything else.
Right, and I see that all the time. People are like, well, if I just had a camera, or if I just had this lens, and and trust me, I'm a gear guy. I get stuck in that thing too, but it's using what you have right now. So,
Definitely.
And Eric has been a great example of that over the years. You've I mean, you started with expensive cameras, and then. And now a lot of the stuff that you do is the most recent,
right here.
the most recent phone, So it's using what is available and what you have. So,
Definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned social media, and I mean, part of that is our life because we're a production company and we do longer form stuff similar to what it is you're doing, not quite at that level, but But we have the gear, we have the expertise. We'd love to do stuff like that. But then there are times that we'll pour a lot of money and effort into something, and it'll just get a few views, and then I'll take a video of a snowdrift and snow blowing, and it'll have 30,000. I mean, it's just And how do you feel about that? Is that a little disheartening to you sometimes?
Yeah, it's definitely disheartening. The way I think about it is it's almost like a river that's moving really, really fast. That all these little clips are coming towards you, and the second you grab something and let it go, it just flies away.
Yeah.
And so when I grew up, it was kind of off the end of these great films of the 90s and early 2000s. Shawshank Redemption and Saving Private Ryan and The Lord of the Rings for me. Just these massive blockbusters that were so story-driven. And growing up, it was a time where we still all went to a theater to see the same film. And it's hard now because our attention spans are so put all over the place. And I think it's amazing because you can access more films and content than ever before. But we rarely all rally around one thing.
Right.
And so making Out There, the challenge has been how do we connect it with the audience that wants to see this, but have a really meaningful connection with people. The story of making a film is you have to figure out who's going to see it, and then how do I distribute this? And part of me being on the road, this week we're doing 7 screenings alone, but through the life of Out There, we've done over 20 film festivals and then over 50 different screenings with nonprofits and organizations. And I've been kind of a road warrior this year, traveling to a lot of them because every time we go around, we're pulling in 10 people, 50 people, 100 people that are going to stick around and watch that.
Wow.
And so, you know, we're really focused on helping these orgs, but I think creating in-person experiences is really special too. It's like one of the last refuges of our attention span where we all just sit and appreciate one thing together.
You're absolutely
So,
right.
Yeah.
So tell me about the progression. I mean, you started, you and Anthony started like, okay, we're just going to go film this. At what point in this journey did you figure out the story? And a lot of people don't understand what, I mean, we're telling a story and they like, oh, you know, that's, they don't really get that. But so maybe help us understand how you guys stumbled on that.
Yeah, you know, we started off and wanted to do as many parks as possible, go see big landscapes, and knew that we wanted to create some ode to the parks. It was the centennial year of the National Park Service, and it was very much in the public consciousness. We didn't really know how. And so the first big moment was we met a guy named Gary Stelpflug. He's made the trails in Acadia National Park in Maine for over 40 years and is now retired. But he just wears his heart on his sleeve and was this national parks worker who had given almost his whole life to preserving trails and kind of creating something that we hike and would never know, kind of the invisible hands that go behind creating it. And so we found Gary because we just went to a local library and said, who's like a local legend around here we should film with? And they said Gary. And then that unlocked sort of the premise of what we approached from then on of what are the human stories of these national parks? Of rather than just seeing, you know, films about parks that are landscapes and voiceover, or, you know, the Ken Burns films have amazing common human stories, but they're a bit slower and more historical. And so we wanted to capture like that spirit of a road trip, that feeling of meeting people. And our theory was that if you see someone reflect an experience of a park and their connection to it, it's going to make you think of your own experiences and want to preserve that place too. And you see it with all of you guys. Every park you talk about, there's that spark in your eye. There's a reason you preserve these places in Oregon. And so these people's stories, we think, reflect like what we all, the reason why we're all in this room talking about it, is that we each have an experience and a perspective on parks. And so, yeah, Gary kicked off what was a crazy journey because filming that summer, we did additional filming over some years. I edited 300 hours of footage down to the 75-minute film.
Oh my goodness.
And then has been the journey of actually distributing it. So by the time we released the film, it's actually almost going to have been a decade since we first hit the road, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, and the nature of these things is that clearly it's a labor of love, and then you're working other projects and you're doing other things to actually make money and pay the bills and put food on your table, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's hard, you know. So I actually got engaged in Yosemite this year to my fiance Gabby, which is really cool. So it's like another little national parks moment.
Yeah.
But we're wedding planning for this coming March. And it's definitely a time where the finance of being an independent artist is coming against our dreams of an amazing life. But, you know, I really, especially in my 20s and up to now, wanted to give it my all and just try.
Yeah.
And like you guys, to get to even go on a film shoot, be at a screening, and do this is a real privilege and honor. But that's always the thing as an artist, you know. How do you balance actually making a living and having any sort of security with the work that you want to create?
Yep.
So,
yep, I understand that. Ask my wife; she'll tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's funny that you talk about park story. I mean, you know, one of the first images in the trailer is the Tetons, and I grew up in Casper, Wyoming, and went to school in Nampa, Idaho, and so I mean, you know, I made countless trips in front of the Tetons, you know, and it was just, it's always a breathtaking thing, you know. And one of my quick little stories was, I always tried to time it so that I could see them during the day, you know. But there was one time that we missed it and we were late getting out, and it was 10 o'clock at night when we were in front of the Tetons. Well, I knew where to set the camera, and you couldn't see them. I mean, it was just black, you know. It was a black night, but I set the camera and did a long exposure, and here they are. I mean, it was yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those stories. So I totally get that, you know.
Yeah, you know, the Tetons are one of me and my fiance's favorite places to go. Yeah. And when we were first traveling, there's this moment in the film where we first roll up and see the Tetons, and you can just see like my whole like body drop. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's also funny, I brought my fiance there for the first time on a road trip together, and it was so cloudy you couldn't even see the mountains. So for 3 days I just said, I swear there's like
They're
the
there,
craziest
yeah, and
mountain
it's
range.
unbelievable, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, what other, can you think of other memorable park experiences like that that was just, I mean, there's so much beauty, and even in your film, you captured so much of it, but what is like, it is almost holy ground. It's like you are in a place where this is just an amazing place. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm biased because we're here.
Yeah.
But I really do love the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
I've been to Crater Lake, Olympic, Mount Rainier, state parks around here. And the first time I was in kind of the corner of the country in Olympic and seeing those like big grandfatherly trees with the moss and the scale of everything, it made me realize as a storyteller how fantasy novels are written and how dreams are kind of dreamed up into these places. And the one dream we had setting off for out there was doing sunrise on the East Coast and seeing it set over the West. Like,
wow.
For me, I thought that was just a very poetic part of the journey.
Yeah.
And so in Acadia, we were up on Cadillac Mountain, and it kind of starts the film with this huge ball of sun and the silhouettes of everyone against it. And then going across, actually near Olympic, we were in Shy Beach, seeing the sun go down there. And so, yeah, and there's so many poetic moments of grizzly bears and double rainbows, and I've seen northern lights, and the word I just use is magic, because I think it's these experiences in nature that you can't put words to or ever describe to someone else how it felt.
Right.
But if they've had an experience like that, then they just know what it feels like. So that's what it's about for me.
Yeah. Well, tell me about your connection with Seth and Oregon Parks Forever and kind of how that developed for you.
Yeah, so one of the most special things of out there and getting to tour around the country is just by coincidence and serendipity, people will cross your path that leads you to this whole next place. And so I screened at this conference called the Friends Alliance. Seth was part of a small line of people that wanted to talk to me after, one at a time. And he said, look, I'd really like to talk about bringing this film around Oregon. And I was immediately just like all these dreams in my head because I love Oregon. Road tripping would be a dream here and has been. And it was, I couldn't have imagined how many places that would lead us. Because we did our first Oregon tour, did our 6 cities in 7 days, and we basically sold out every theater.
Wow.
The turnout was amazing, the responses. Hearing more about Seth's work and the work that Oregon Parks Forever is doing was really inspiring. And so for us, it just made us want to double down and help however we can. And so then Seth said, hey, look, this was so successful. What if we tee up a whole other tour later in the year? And it was an immediate yes. And so, we built this process to really be like an indie music band almost, where we have a tour poster.
Right. I was thinking that too. Yeah.
It's me, my fiance is helping capture footage and doing our merch table. We have our composer on the road, Elizabeth P.W., who did all the music for the film, and then a musician, Dylan McKinstry, who also produced the soundtrack. And so together we travel. The events are a live music performance, screening of the film, and then a conversation just like this. And we love it because we connect with audiences on the ground. They're just super fun events to do, and we try to do hikes everywhere we can. But more than anything, it's about supporting this amazing work. This is a really hard year for parks, and organizations like Oregon Parks Forever are uplifting parks where they can't fundraise themselves. And so that's why we're so passionate. Yeah, so it's kicked off a really great, collaboration with Seth, just a friendship. We have a lot of time on the road together and get a lot of chances to just connect and talk about life.
Yeah.
He's seen me from being freshly engaged, and by the time we're touring next, I'll probably be married. So it's, who knows? Yeah, life's unfolding in that way. So it's cool.
Well, that's awesome, and how cool. So give us, Seth, give us the information about the film tonight and where it's showing and how people can get tickets and that whole nine stars. Yeah.
So the show is at 6:30
okay.
In Zabel Hall at EOU. The music is going to start at 6:20.
Okay.
So Elizabeth and Dylan perform for 10 minutes before we kind of gather people together, then 10 minutes after. We show the trailer that they just saw, a little bit about Oregon Parks Forever, and then we show the movie, which lasts about an hour and 15 minutes. And then we'll have Brendan and Elizabeth and I will go up to answer questions for about a half an hour. So it's a nice thing. Tickets can be found at orparksforever.org. There's a box in the middle of the home screen with his logo for out there. You click on that and trace through to the showing that they want to see in LeGrand, or if it doesn't work out tonight and you want to travel, it's only an hour away to go to Pendleton. We'll be tomorrow night in Pendleton at the Convention Center, and we'll look forward to it. Ticket prices are $15 for general admission, $10 for seniors, and $5 for EOU students.
Okay. And
Awesome.
can they buy them at the door? Can they show up and buy them?
Can.
Or if they show up, they'll buy them on their phone
we
right
would
then?
We would prefer that they buy them online just
Yeah.
to keep the
Yeah.
check-in process
Yeah.
work faster.
Yeah.
But yes, we can
Yeah.
take at the door. In fact, last night the showing in Baker City sold out, and there were 111 people who had bought before the show, and then the rest of the people all paid cash and showed up at the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and part of that's Eastern Oregon. That's just, so, well, man, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. And Brendan, if people want to find the film somewhere else, is it out there for them?
Yeah, so we're doing a big release this spring actually online that we're really excited about. And so our website for the film is just outthere.film. No
Okay.
.com, outthere.film. There's a newsletter which will show more screenings, opportunities to stream, and then email contacts for me and for the film.
Okay.
And in the upper right-hand corner of that screen, there's a button called Screenings. You can pull it down and see all the pending screenings.
Okay.
As well as the past screenings, I believe.
Yeah, plenty, yeah.
All right, and Seth, if somebody wants to be a member or they want to support Oregon Parks Forever, what do they do?
They go to our website, which is orparksforever.org, and there's a button called Ways to Give, and so they can choose to be a one-time annual member, or they can sign up for an easy monthly or quarterly donation that will come right out of their credit card or their checking account, and that's very helpful to us.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys, and Eric, thank you for connecting us all. Yeah, we really appreciate it.
I don't know if we have time. Do we have time to tell a little bit about other opportunities for LeGrand?
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
So we've talked about the things that are already here, but one of the other things we have, and you saw in the information about us, is this partnership we have with David's Chair to bring in electric all-terrain track chairs. These are really interesting things for anybody with a mobility challenge. It's not just people who are already in a wheelchair, but anybody with a scooter, a cane, crutches, or even just balance issues, who wants to be able to get outside on a trail that has roots and rocks, get on the beach, that sort of thing. So this is wheelchairs that have had the wheels replaced with tank treads. And so they can go over incredible terrain. And when I first met them 7 years ago, they had 4 chairs headquartered in Medford, and I said, oh my God, these things are life-changing. We need to bring them around the state. So they said they didn't have the money, so we said, we'll take over the task of raising the money and marketing, and so now they have 24 chairs.
Oh, wow.
And mostly along the Oregon coast. There's some testers in, there's one in Northern California, one in Reno, and one in Washington, but the rest are in Oregon. And we are now hoping to bring them to the I-5 corridor, and then I'm looking for locations in Eastern Oregon to be able to bring them out here. Hunters like them if they have a mobility challenge. Some of the chairs have the ability to put a holder on there for a gun, so that somebody with a mobility challenge can still get out with a gun and go hunting.
Wow.
So I'm hoping that we can make that happen. I shouldn't jump in and talk about where they're going to be, but so that's another thing that we're doing. We also mentioned that we have a goal of planting 1 million trees. So we have so far funded the planting of 850,000 trees, and we intend to fill that out. And so what we do is we raise the money, and then we tell the agencies if they've had a wildfire or a drought or insect invasion, that they can apply to us for the funding to provide trees. Now these are not full-grown trees; these are obviously saplings.
Yeah.
But we're proud of setting that goal of the 1 million trees, and I think we're well on the way towards getting there.
Oh, that's awesome. All right.
Other things, if If teachers want to be able to take field trips to parks from this area, we fund up to $500 for buses and for drivers for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classes to go to parks. And it's a very simple one-page application on the website on OR Parks Forever. And so we hope that teachers will get kids outdoors, and we're happy to make it possible with money.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much. Yeah, and thank you for reminding us of those things. So, all right, man, you want to get us out
Let's
of here?
do it. On this day, November 6, 1860, Republican Abraham Lincoln of Illinois is elected the 16th President of the United States. 1936, RCA displays TVs for the press for the first time. 1966, on this day, is the first time the entire lineup on NBC is televised in color. 2006, 11.77 inches of rain in Nehalem, Oregon, breaking the state record set in 1915. 2018, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, 29, of New York, becomes the youngest woman ever elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. The #1 movie in America on this day in 2005 is Chicken Little. Not very exciting. I mean, that's a Disney movie, I think. And then the quote of the day comes from Shahir Zag. A tiger doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. One more time. A tiger doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Tomorrow night, 6:45, we'll go live. LeGrand football taking on Sweet Home in the first round of the OSAA state playoffs.
Yeah, and right here in about 30 minutes, we will have a live conversation on EO Talks with U.S. Representative Cliff Benz. We'll be right here in the studio. Thanks a bunch, you guys. See you soon.